infighting over a major spending plan for local governments continues this week. Democrats left on the sidelines as they wait for a deal that they'd consider voting for. Political reporter Will Keneally sat down with Senate Minority Leader Melissa Agard to discuss.
So I first kind of want to ask you where the negotiations stand right now, who's in these negotiations for the shared revenue bill?
So today's a wild day in the state capitol building. There are people from all over the state of Wisconsin begging the legislature, begging primarily the Senate at this point, to hear their voices and acknowledge the fact that we need to do better when it comes to shared revenue in the state of Wisconsin. It is refreshing to know that Majority Leader LeMahieu is committed to continuing this process in the best interest of finding a sustainable and long-term solution for the people across the state of Wisconsin. Here's a big surprise. I, as a Democrat, agree with them. There's bipartisan agreement between the two leaders' houses and the Senate that we are not done with this negotiation process, and we are hopeful that we can get to a point of yes. So those local government leaders who are here have the resources in order to do their jobs.
So I also think it's fascinating too. You obviously represent Democrats broadly in the Senate, but also the Madison municipality. What would be kind of the harm? What would be the danger for like Madison, Dane County, for example, of this bill not getting passed?
You know, we know that there are a number of provisions in this piece of legislation that have nothing to do with shared revenue. And that is a big concern to my community and communities across the state of Wisconsin. We also know that there needs to be a little bit of tweaking when it comes to the shared revenue formula so that municipalities and governments of different sizes are being equalized. And I had the opportunity to be in the hearing room today and listen to the authors of the legislation as they were engaging with conversations with people on the committee. And it does seem like there is an earnest intent to be able to make the best changes possible for these local levels of government.
So it seemed like last week one of the major sticking points was that issue of the Milwaukee referendum to raise their sales tax. Do you have a sense of what the sticking points are kind of going forward, or also to which bill, like an assembly version or the Senate version, Democrats might be most on board with?
It's pretty early in the process here in the state Senate. Today was our committee hearing. Today was the first day that we were really given the opportunity to have a seat at the table and hear the voices of the people of the state of Wisconsin. The last hearing that was held in the assembly before the bill hit the floor of the assembly. And so we're hearing from the good people of the state of Wisconsin about the differences that they would like to see where the assembly felt like they put their period, where they landed, and where they believe we can go. So I believe we will continue to have robust conversations and look forward to them, and believe, as in many things, that the glass is half full, that we can do better than what was presented by the assembly to the people of Wisconsin.
So there aren't perhaps one or two sticking points that you'd be able to point to now that you guys are in negotiations on?
Well, what I heard, what I have been hearing from people since the assembly execed the bill and had their final floor vote, there is concern about having a referendum on the ballot in Milwaukee, and knowing that we need to have a long-term and sustainable solution that will actually work for people in Milwaukee. If we're going to address the crisis that they are facing in Milwaukee, then we cannot do it in a way that means it's not going to actually come to fruition. We also know when it comes to shared revenue for communities all across the state of Wisconsin that there are some communities, kind of these mid-sized cities across the state of Wisconsin, that are a little uncomfortable with where things have landed. So we're going to continue working with the coalition of people that have been at the table. It's wonderful to have the towns, the villages, the cities, and the counties all coming together in a unified way and talking with us so that they know that they need to work together And we know that we need to come together as different parties here in the Capitol building to address their needs and making sure that the messages that they're delivering to us in a unified voice are being heard by both the Republicans and the Democrats here in the state Senate.
If you don't mind, I want to ask you just kind of a little bit of a political science observer question here, to the extent of, this is the first time I remember seeing really a rift between Republicans, where you have Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu, and two like very distinct sides of this issue. I'm just kind of curious what you make of that, and kind of what that means for a single party that controls the state legislature here.
So that's a little tough for me. I think that asking the members of the majority party that question, you're probably going to get a better sense of if they're willing to chat with you. It's been a long time since Republicans in Wisconsin have actually had to compromise. Having this reality check in order to make sure that Wisconsin is moving forward and that our local governments are provided with the resources that they deserve and that they need so that the good people of Wisconsin can be safe, they can be prosperous, and they can know that Wisconsin is a place that's going to take care of them and their families. That's ultimately why it is that we're here every day.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Again, that was Will Keneally reporting. We'll be right back.